I think after that there's obviously the Everton stuff, but you moved on to be Scotland manager, take us, I think, 70 places up the rankings, start the Euro 2008 in a great shape. Is there regrets that you never got a chance to take us to a major finals and went back to Rangers before?
No, the Everton bit, when I went there, it was probably the 3 years there was as good a work as I've done managerially. It made me realise a lot of things you don't like about that happens sometimes when I was at Dundee United. They were always up challenging, they were always into the running for cups and things like that. We were always there. When I went to Everton, Dundee United were really well run. When I went to Rangers, you know, after a period they were well run. That was it. And when I went to Everton, they were in chaos. Well, I mean, the management, the overall management of the club, never mind the management of the FIBA team, but the overall management of the club was, and Peter Johnson, who was the chairman, said, right, we're going to spend some money. We did do, and then 3 months later they were nearly bankrupt. So we had to sell all the players that we bought, and we had to do it, and it took me into a kind of another element of management, and then they got a deal with NTL that they spent a lot of money again, and it went belly up again, and that was the second time. So we had a lot of things I had a lot of things to contend with there that I had never really contended with before, and it made me realise a lot about, you know, management in general, and how tough it was for a lot of boys who maybe not as fortunate as me to become the manager of Rangers in good circumstances of winning and things like that, and how it was like to scrape and battle and fight and, you know, take free transfers and take a lot of boys in. So we did that. So possibly, if I look back at that, it wasn't glamorous, and I can't say that I particularly enjoyed it, but it was maybe at the time as good a level of management as getting there at Rangers and whatever success you were getting. So the Everton one was a big, it was a disappointment to me, because when you want to go, you were obviously wanting to do well, but in the end, when I look back at it now, it probably made my second spell at Rangers, if anything, and my spells as Scotland team manager, a bit easier for me to relate to than it would have been if I hadn't.
Yeah. The Scotland job, I think, you know, everybody admired the job that he did there, but I can remember at one point he made a phone call to me during that, and he said, right, Betty's left a list here of 76 players. I've whittled it down to 30. It's lunchtime. What the fuck do I do for the rest of the day? And I thought to myself, international management's going to be difficult for you. Was there an element of that, in that a frustration that you only got them for 10 days at a time? Or?
I thought I said the rest of the week. Was there. International jobs it's a great job to get. There are frustrations in it, you know, where you don't feel as though you're really a part of anything. You know, you kind of get I'd probably be better suited to doing it now than I was in the period of time, you know, when I was there. If it's one of your last, if it's your last job maybe in football, you would be better suited to it, you know, going into doing it. But I still felt a wee bit of frustration of not having a kind of daily involvement, you know, and then you were going to watch players. So after 3 months, you'd seen all the players of Scotland. You know, you just had to keep an eye on them, and you were going round, and you couldn't wait till you got to the game time and you got going. So it was. I enjoyed the spell there. The SFA were great. You know, and I managed to get some good results while we were there, which for managers there is be all and end all of what you're going to do. And it introduced me to one of the best fellows I've ever met, in Tommy Burns, and you know, that was a period that, you know, I really enjoyed. It was a big decision for me to make when David Murray came back and asked me to go back to Rangers. It was one of these ones, albeit that I'm a Rangers supporter, and I would love to come back. I would love to have been able to say, I'm going to wait to the end of this section and then I'll come back. But obviously he couldn't, and he wanted an answer, and I just couldn't. I couldn't resist going back to Rangers again. So But it was a huge decision there. The national teams are a great job, and we had a good environment going there, and we had probably the toughest section that Scotland have had for a long time. But we did well in it, and we were generating a good kind of team spirit. And Alan McLeish took it on right enough, and I got a few good results as well. But for us, typical Scotland, you know, for us, we probably gained more points in that section than we've have done in any other one, and we end up with no chance of qualifying. You know, France, Italy, Ukraine, you know, that's our best effort of the last few years. You know, how did we not draw against the weaker teams to give us an opportunity to qualify? I suppose that's Scotland, right enough. But no, enjoyable job in many ways, but frustrating if you wanted to feel as though you had a brand. The game's finished and you go into the office the next day, there's nobody there, there's no players, there's no staff, there's nobody. It really is and then they ask you to go and do a promotional thing at a local school, and you've got 5 and 6 year old kids, you know, running about, and you go for beating France 1-0, and then all of a sudden, you know, you're asking a 5-year-old to control the ball, you know. It's kind of it's that kind of strange environment, and there we go.